in the workforce. So the job, my real job with the center is fun and rewarding. It's not as fun and rewarding as government school. You know?
Of course.
It's not, because it's not as intense. You know, and with work that we do here at the center, I'm further removed because I'm a researcher, so I'm kind of behind the scenes looking. With governor school, you're right there in the middle of it, and you know what the effects are. You don't have to run statistics at the end to figure it out. You know, you see it, and that was part of what was a hard decision for me, whether or not to take the directorship here, was I knew if I did that, I would have to give up governor school. And so it's a balance. You know, it is.
Hard.
But governor school is also incredibly exhausting, and it's a huge responsibility because I'm a pretty overprotective parent myself, and so then when I have 100 or 120 of other people's kids, I'm even more overprotective, and I was always so scared that somebody would be hurt seriously or get pregnant or something, you know, on my watch. I was just always, it's a huge stressor. Yeah.
I would have never thought.
So to my knowledge, none of that has happened, so it might happen after governor school, but it doesn't happen while they're here. So.
Wow. Yeah.
Lots of things to worry about when you work with teenagers.
Right. Yeah, I never thought of that. Well, I mean, I guess I should have thought about that. I always thought of, like, the government school, like cream of the crop kids, and but I mean, I guess some of them are.
Not always.
Not
always. And even the cream of the crop kids like to push the boundaries.
Right.
We see that in the first years of governor school. I think it was still under. There have been 4 directors in the 35 years that governor school's been around. And so under the first director, there were some kids at night who they were in like. I don't know which dormitory, Jones, maybe on that campus, but they were on the 5th floor of a dormitory, and they were having water gun fights at night after their RAs were in bed, and they were sliding up and down the halls and shooting water at each other and just having a blast, having a great time. I think that floor was not being used, and so they went to an empty floor and had fun at night, and you can see that it would be fun and harmless. Well, one of the kids sliding down the hall, he slid and hit the elevator doors, which opened, and the elevator was on the 1st floor, and he fell down the elevator shaft, and he was paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life. And so that's kind of the thing that we passed down with governor school. So, you know, that's a story that the directors always hear, because it did happen. And nowadays, I mean, back then, probably we weren't such a society based on suing and, you know, lawsuits and all that. But now something like that would probably shut the program down. You know, so you have to protect teenagers from themselves, because they don't realize, you know, they really don't realize how vulnerable they are.
That is scary.
Yeah, and it was harmless. They were just having fun. It wasn't anything. They weren't trying to hurt anyone, or they didn't think they were any kind of danger. So, yeah, I will say this, it hasn't been announced yet, so don't say anything about government school, but I think everybody kind of suspected when I brought Dr. Corey in the summer that
I've heard that.
that there was a transition in place.
Right.
But this will be my first year. I've either been in graduate school or worked 12 months a year, and so this will be my first year to have June and July off, and I'm so
That's great. That's also kind of why I want to be a teacher.
Yeah,
always get my summer vacation.
I mean, it is important, and I think when you have family and you need time to, you know, you can kind of let things go. As a teacher, you can kind of let things go during the year, and then in those two or 3 months of summer, you can do all the quality family time, and you know, you can do a vacation, you can spend time with your kids, and you know, for me, I could sew and make jam and just, I mean, weird things that I don't do, but that I do in the summer, or that I used to do during Christmas or whatever. But kind of weird things that don't happen anymore at home.
I like thinking about, like, once we graduate and get a job, it's like, no more summer.
I know.
That's terrifying. I'm like, I can't live 12 months without a break.
I can't either. I know.
and you have to think about those things with the careers, because even, I mean, depending on, like for me, the university is great, and same thing with a public school or a private school, but you get, you know, a week off at Thanksgiving. You get a lot of the same breaks, and you get 2 weeks at Christmas, and you know, my husband gets a week of vacation a year. And so I'm like, oh, how do you do that? Because here at the university, we get more vacation time than a school teacher, because you know, they have to hire subs, and it's bad for the kids for you to be out. But we earn almost 30 days a year of sick time and personal time. Plus, we get 2 weeks off at Christmas and a week at Thanksgiving and spring break, and then I get 2 months off in the summer. You know, so if I just don't feel like I need a mental health day today, I don't really want to go to work, then I can just not go to work, and that is really nice.
That is.
And
Most people
especially
can't do that.
as women, if you have families, you know, and you have a sick child or whatever.
I think people don't think about that, because they're like, oh, you should be a doctor, but doctors don't really, like, you're at work 24/7.
Exactly. And I think if you look at how much debt you go into, I mean, you have to really want to be a doctor.
Exactly.
To go into that much debt, and then if you figure out how much you're making per hour, when you multiply out, you know, how many hours you're working.
Yeah, my cousin's just graduating, or he's doing his residency, and he graduated high school when I was in elementary school.
Wow.
And it's not worth it to me. I'm like, it's not worth it. Like, and then thinking that, oh, you be a doctor, you can save people, and then you could lose people, and it's like,
You have to, I think you have to really learn that.
People just think about, oh, you get paid all this money. Money's not the most important thing in life.
It's not, and I think the sooner you can learn that and not let yourself be controlled for your whole life by money, because I do think that's something that we struggle with in the U.S. And, you know, my daughter, she's just now figuring out that just because you wear all polo or, you know, whatever, doesn't mean you're rich. Because, you know, she has friends who have to work to buy gas, but yet they wear all, you know, their families are in debt, and and we don't really think about how I think how scary, and how, I mean, for me, it's just all around horrible to be strapped to debt, or to your job or something. You know, letting that control your decisions.
And even if it's a job that you in the beginning like, being stuck like that, I don't think you like it anymore.
I think you're right. I think you would grow to resent it.
Because most people say you should always do what you love, but I mean, it's kind of true. You should do what you love, but at the same time, it's like you have to think about all the other stuff that goes into it. And it's like maybe it's not best for you to do what you like, and maybe keep that as like a side.
And you know, there's a spectrum. So there are things you hate, you know, things you love, and there are things that you like a lot, you know. And I think you can find something that you work that you don't dislike. It may not be your passion, but like you said, you can do that in your summers or in your weekends. You can do that volunteering or whatever.
I think most people just don't realize it's like just find something that you could be content with. I think it's better off, because you never really. I mean, I don't, like, most people go